Hey guys, so let me just start off by saying that I'm really excited for this video because I was thinking back on how I used to do my makeup and how differently I do it now, because back then it was much more heavy. Now I use a lot less product. I've kind of like learned how to properly apply makeup on my face. I've always wondered why my makeup didn't last as long as others, but I do have oily skin, I have textured skin. I feel like my skin is more dehydrated until I have makeup on there, so my skin is more dry right now, and then once I apply makeup my oils start coming through. This will be the new side and this will be the old. We're gonna go ahead and get started, and I hope you enjoy the video. So I used to do my eyebrows very bold, not so dark, but I used to have very clean lines. I used to just draw it out with pomade and then I would clean it up with concealer and it'd just be very like sharp. Nowadays it's not so much like that. I would take my dip brow and carve out my brows, so I'm going to do that really quick. And I remember it being kind of curved, or like, yeah, more curved down. I didn't fill in the top or carve out the top, so I was kind of missing an arch. I had a little bit, but I didn't really like to have that so much. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just clean it up with concealer. But basically I would take the Tarte Shape Tape in a really light shade, a shade that was too light for me, light sand, and then I would just carve them out. Then I just blend it out with a beauty blender. That is my old brow. How it would curve like. The brows I do now are much more simple than the ones I did a few years ago. So first I'm just going to take a primer, and that's another thing, is like I use an eye primer rather than a concealer to prime my eyes, because I found that I have really oily lids. My eyeshadow doesn't really last that long with concealer as a primer, as opposed to an actual primer for like meant for eyeshadow. So I'm going to take a little bit just on the brow bone, just so I don't put any eye primer in the actual eyebrow after I have it done. And I just use the e.l.f. Putty eye primer for that in the color Cream. I barely tried it yesterday, but I really liked it. So what I would do today for a soft glam is just throw in a colored eyebrow gel, like what I'm doing right now. This is just the AOA Studio eyebrow gel in the color brown, dark brown. I take this e.l.f. brow gel in the color Clear, and I just go over the same brow gel I just used. I just throw in some brow gels. Like I feel like I'm missing some hairs right here. I will just go in with the Urban Decay Brow Blade, and I'll take the ink stain side, so it's like a little marker, and I will just make little hairs. I'm going to take a concealer on my old side. Now for my current side, I'm going to put the e.l.f. eye primer. What's really nice about this eye primer, it comes in 5 or 6 different shades. So if you feel like this isn't the right color for you, there are definitely other shades for different skin tones. For the old side, which is this side, I always would set my concealer that I put on the lid. And now I won't set it just because it's an actual eye primer, so I feel like I don't need to set it. I've learned that concealers will crease and my oils will just break through concealers on the lid, so that's why I kind of try to stray away from using a concealer as a eye primer. But if like it's a quick thing, I'll just throw in like a concealer on the lid. But if I have 5 more seconds than I usually do, I'll go in with the eye primer. This one feels really nice. It still feels kind of sticky, but it's not super sticky, and I feel like it is drying down just a little bit. I guess this turned into a review. 2 years ago, my ride or die was the Jaclyn Hill palette. It still is a really good palette and I reach for it a lot, but 2 years ago this was the only thing I was using, and the only brush I was using was this Morphe M433. I'm going to be taking this shade right here, and I'm going to grab a lot, and I'm not going to tap off the excess product. I'm a savage. Right, so I'm just going to pack most of the color on the outside and just kind of blend it in. So back then I would kind of start blending it down. You see it's like dragging my eye down, and I would blend it in just a little bit this way, but not too much. And I only used that one color. I never took a transition color. I never got a color to like deepen it out, just because I found that this shade was like perfect. Like if you got most of your product off of the brush down here, you can start blending it up and it looks like you have a transition anyway. Yeah. And also I was in school 2 years ago, so I didn't want to waste too much time. I was that crazy person who woke up really early just to put on a full face, just because it was fun for me, and I never really had time to do makeup other than in the morning when I had to wear it out. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I wore glitter. I took this BH Cosmetics Diamond Dazzler. It's like a loose foil pigment in the color Radiant. It's just like a gold color. Oh, there it is. Oof. I'd pretty much pack it everywhere, like all over the lid. I'm gonna move on to eyeshadow I do today. I do a way different shape to bring my eye up like this because my eyes are already hooded and they do come down a little bit on this side. So the camera cut me off, of course, but I now use the aesthetic palette from the Makeup Shack the most now, just because it's a really pretty palette. It has all these really beautiful neutral shades with like a pop of color. This shade right now, just to map out like the shape I want for the eyeshadow. So I was just making my shape and now I'm just really diffusing things out with the M433 brush, like a little bit of that transition shade with a Morphe M433 brush, and I'm going to buff everything out up here and as well as going up here just to lift everything. So now I'm going to take a little bit of that deep brown and black, and I'm going to focus things right here on the lash line. And for this I'm using a Morphe M506, and this is very quick. I don't usually like take too much time on this. I kind of just like blend everything together and it's like, oh okay, it looks fine. I'm just going to take that fluffy brush and focus that bone shade in this first half of my eye. That's it. That's all I do for like a soft glam now. I usually keep it all matte. I don't put shimmer anymore. I mean, sometimes when I'm feeling snazzy, but that's it. So I'm going to take some makeup remover. I'm going to look forward and just clean up the sides. And this is like very on trend right now with the little like, you know. Alright, so now we're going to move on to prepping the skin for foundation. I don't have to do anything for this side because I never prepped my skin for foundation. Now it's a little more extensive just because I feel like skin is more important to me now. Not that my skin is perfect or great or decent at all. First I take this Wet n Wild Prime Focus Primer Serum. It's really great. I really recommend it. It's only like $7 and they sell it like at Walmart and stuff. It's so good, guys. It really helps to have like a serum before your primer. So this kind of acts as both, and it's hydrating, so it's really good. So since it's hydrating, I keep it only on my forehead and my cheek area, and once I'm done, like when I have any residue, I'll bring it to my nose and stuff, but mostly I like to keep it here on my cheeks and my forehead because that's where I'm like the most textured. Really great. So any like gel or water-based stuff for oily skin is like your best friend. So next I take this Pore Refiner Primer from Dr. Brandt. This has become one of my favorites. It's really great. It's really thin as well, so it's not like super slidey, and it absorbs any oil in my T-zone. So first I just kind of put it right here because I have a lot of pores right here under the eye. And then I will take some, I took too much. I took some like if I was going to put it all over my face. And then I just kind of really put it everywhere because it really smooths the skin. And that really helps me because I have a lot of textures. But yeah guys, prepping the skin is really important and kind of lays down a base for what your foundation is going to look like. Before, obviously, I didn't really care about it because it didn't seem like it helped at all, just because I'm like, oh, primers don't really make my makeup last longer, which that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that'll like make my foundation look better, because on this side it's going to look really textured and cakey, as you'll see later, and then this side is really smooth and like, you know, it's ready for foundation. Alright, so for my old side I would always use this Maybelline Superstay 24-hour wear foundation. It's a really full coverage matte foundation. Now I feel like I always needed full coverage matte just because I have oily skin, 1, and 2, I have really red textured skin. But a really thick foundation, a really full coverage foundation is really not like an oily girl's best friend. Really pretty foundation. I still wear it every now and then. I'll wear it like on special occasions rather than every day, just because it is such a full coverage foundation. For this new side, I will wear the same coverage, which is medium coverage, whether it be an everyday soft glam or a full glam. Use this brush. This is my Ride or Die medium coverage foundation, so I'll usually use this or the L'Oreal Infallible. These two foundations are amazing medium coverage drugstore foundations, and they're both really buildable. So I'm just going to go with my Wet n Wild foundation, and I'm just going to take 2 little swipes and just spread that out with the brush. With this technique, it still looks like skin. It lasts a lot longer than me using such a full coverage foundation over no primers or serums. So I try to avoid the area I put concealer, just because less product lasts longer on my skin. So for my old side, I went in with a really matte full coverage concealer, which is the Tarte Shape Tape, or that's the one I'm going to use today. And I took it. Oh my god, this is going to kill me. I would put that huge triangle under my eye. Okay, I don't know why I did this much, especially if it was like so full coverage. And then I would try to clean up this side as well. And for the new side, I go in with a much more liquidy concealer that's like a medium coverage. I'm just using the Born This Way concealer. Now I only take it just a little bit right here and down and over here. Spread it out on this side, and I'll take this outside and kind of clean up. But see, it gives pretty much the same effect. It's just a lot less product. So for the old side, I'm gonna bake. This powder is lovely. I'm gonna distance this video. Okay. Alright, so now I'm setting wet and dry with the Wet n Wild powder, and I am baking. For the new side, I'm gonna go in with the Born This Way powder and just set the under eye with a brush. Okay, so I actually forgot that I used to bake like my whole face. So.
She forgot.
So I have to bake this side of my face.
I hate the siding in the back.
Now for both sides, I usually would just take like a pressed, like a powder foundation. It's the Too Faced one. And I'm just going to do the same thing, kind of just swirl it over my skin on this side. And on the other side, which is my old side, I would take a lot of powder and then just like press it into my face. For my old side, I would always just go in with Hoola on the forehead, and I remember taking it like this way, like trying to have it like this rather than across. Now I'm going for like a more lifted effect, so cutting my face off here really doesn't give me that. I still use Hoola. Now I like put my finger here so I make sure not to get bronzer like anywhere past here. And I'll just take it right here and blend up. And of course on the forehead. It's always been the same on my forehead. I've never really like changed it. You'll see in a couple minutes in this video how I take my nose contour here, and then like my shadow will go here and my bronzer will go here. So it looks like it's like just a flow of color, I guess. I don't know, but that's how I like it. So I just take the bronzer here and here, and I leave this space here so it looks, again, say it with me, lifted. For the contour, now I took the same bronzer on the old side, and I would just kind of do this, feather it out. What I do now, but it's a much more neutral bronzer than Hoola is, because Hoola is a lot more warm than this one right here, which is the Too Faced Chocolate Souffle Bronzer. This one, as you can see, is much more like neutral, almost cool tone bronzer. So I'm going to take that and just do the same thing. For the cheeks, I would take a loose setting powder and bake like that. On the new side, I kind of take whatever powder I have left on here and I'll press it in. Like, I don't take extra powder to bake this side of my nose. Because again, I am oily, but right now applying makeup I'm dry, so this really helps with baking my nose. Now on the old side, I still take powder and I would drag it down like that. So I would take a lot of powder and drag it down, which doesn't help me whatsoever because now you probably can't see, but I have like dry spots now and it didn't look good. I love blush with all my heart and soul, but a few years ago I didn't use blush. So I'm not going to put blush on this side, I'm just going to put it on the new side. I put it everywhere. In here because I think it looks cute. Here. Bring it up. I blend it into the bronzer. I just like put it everywhere. I love blush so much. I could use blush as a bronzer, like I really don't care. I like it on my nose, so I'm just gonna do it a little here. I'm gonna go in with just like my powder brush and top over. Like this. And you know what? I noticed that I'm starting to put a little bake on the side after blush, just so I can bring back the light color. Because when it comes to blush, I don't want to like be careful where I place it. I just want to like place it everywhere. I'm just gonna tap away this bake now. On this side, there's no lifting. Everything looks fine. But on this side, I would wipe it like this. Okay, it cut off. I don't know where, but I'm gonna continue on to highlight. I don't highlight on my cheeks anymore. I do on my nose. And I did on my nose back then as well. So I'm going to do highlight on this side, on my old side, because I would highlight. When it came to highlight, I would always use this color right here. It's in the shade Butterscotch. I would take a lot, tap it off, and I would go down here. Not up here. I would drag it down like this. Highlighting all the texture and the pores, of course. So even if you do have texture, you can still wear highlight on your cheeks, just like maybe a little area. For example, I have texture. If I do want to wear highlight, I'm not going to take it up here, I'm not going to take it down here, I'm just going to take it right here in the middle. And then with a different brush, like my blush brush, I'll go over it, just like tap it. This one I just kind of threw the warm brown under the eye and then popped some nude liner in the waterline. And then on this side, I just popped the warm brown and then a little bit of the dark brown only on the outer part, so I can keep the inner part nice and like open and bright. And now we're gonna throw on some lashes. You ready? So these are two different lashes. This one is in the style Terry and this one is in the style Tori. Now I'm a little biased because this is my favorite and the name is my favorite as well. But yeah, these are more like separated and flared out and they're really pretty for a soft glam everyday look. And these are definitely more on the full side and they're very gorgeous. Sorry if like you can see like my lashes, they're kind of light because I don't want to put mascara on, but yeah, these two styles are really pretty. I really recommend them and they're only $1.50. And you can find them at Miss A on their website. Make sure to shop the lashes that are in these. They are vegan and they're all super gorgeous. So I'm just gonna throw on like a nude lip. Like I wore it back then, I wear it now. So first I'm gonna line my lips with this Morphe lip liner in the shade Sweet Tea. And then with just like a regular satin lipstick from MAC, it's in the color Cherish. I'm gonna throw it all over my bottom lip line and then kind of just like press my lips together. It's like a really pretty, just like nude pink color. And then just like a cute clear gloss. Alright guys, and that is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was really fun for me to like compare the way I did my makeup then to now. But yeah, if you guys have any video suggestions or anything you want to see me do, just make sure to leave a comment down below. But other than that, we are done here and I will see you in the next one. Bye!